action, baby. Monad in the morning. Can you see us? Can you hear us? It is a beautiful Throughput Thursday, and we are extremely back.
We're back, dude.
For our first ever Throughput Thursday on Mainnet.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can say we're back. I'd say we're starting.
We're
beginning.
starting
This is
new.
the first ever. This is like, it was like we were when this started out. When this whole journey started out, we were Pop Warner football player, just a little seedling, and then a lot of things happened. Then we grew up. We went to high school, and then we were playing college ball. We had dreams of making it to the NFL, and now we're in the league, and this is our first game in the league. There's no better way to start off your first game in the league than with Keone as the guest. And who else would you rather hear from for mainnet updates, talk about Monad's launch, than the man himself? I don't know. There's no one. Maybe us two, just because then if you hear Danny and I talking, you probably think Keone's probably up next. So then it's like Pavlov's dog.
Yep, fair enough.
There's the bell and we're about to get fed.
Fair enough. Well, let's get the headphones on. I know Keone's calling in, and we certainly have a lot to unpack. But before we do, I know people have become aware of our new prize distribution method. We will be giving away MON on the spin wheel. You can see in the corner of the screen there. We've got a couple numbers on the wheel, and we will be spinning throughout the show. So, as usual, ask your questions of the guests, and we'll pick the winners pretty similarly to how we have in the past, but we have brand new prizes now, and we will be distributing about 10,000 MON over the course of this show. So, very excited. This is what happens on Mainnet, but
it's also dependent. We can give away up to 10,000, but some people might, as you can see,
I
there's
think on average 10,000.
on average,
Yeah.
it could be
On
more.
average,
It
about
could be more.
10,000.
yeah. But I mean, as you can see, like there's zero.
There are zeros. Is there a negative?
No.
We should put.
We thought about that.
Negative would be pretty good. Wait,
That
did
would
we
be-
do the thing yet?
We did not do the thing yet. We have to do the thing because we know what everyone is here for. This is Throughput Thursday, and it is Monad in the
Morning.
Bingo with Keone.
The first
HD.
Keone is not here yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought we were like going right into it. That's my fault.
Apparently, only Jessup's mic is working.
All right.
Wait, really?
So
Did we just do that whole thing? It's just Jessup.
Hear us through Jessup?
Unclear.
Test. And there's Keone.
Test.
Chat,
That's
let
good.
us know
That's
if
good.
you can.
If it was just
if you can hear us.
I'm actually a little bit sad because I think that was our best intro yet.
Well, there's always next week.
So we had a hiccup on the mic, but it didn't have a hiccup. Monad's mainnet launching. It went live, 100% uptime. It's a great blockchain. Yeah, and I think things have been accelerating, and there's nobody better to talk about the acceleration than the man himself, Keone HD. Very excited to have him on. He is here this time, Jessup, yes?
In the lobby.
In the lobby. That's actually a great name for a waiting room.
Keone, how's it going? Welcome back. Monad in the morning, the first one on Mainnet.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Fantastic. Great to have you here. Certainly a lot has happened. I know the community's been pretty plugged in on your daily recaps, and it's been quite extensive, just the progress between Mainnet Day 1 and Mainnet Day, are we on 10 now? Is this 9 or 10?
Depends how you count it.
I guess it depends where in the world you are, but about 10 days in, Keone, would love to hear a little bit of a, kind of overview. How do you think the Mainnet launch has gone overall, and what's been some of the exciting progress that you've seen since day 1 of Mainnet?
I think it's been going well. I do think that it's quite important to remember that the growth of Monad Mainnet is a marathon rather than a sprint, and Mainnet is the moment where the technology is available to the whole world. Everyone can try out the blockchain. Developers who are maybe monad curious can actually try it out and start interacting. But I think that the foundation is really in place to enable a really bright future in the coming months and years. And I think the key things that I really wanted to see at the launch of mainnet were, first of all, no hiccups, a really performant platform. I think it's really honestly just kind of magical that you can queue up a withdraw from Coinbase, and in the time that it takes you to switch tabs to your wallet, like you immediately see that reflected. You can withdraw USDC, you can withdraw MON. So I think all of the base infrastructure is in place, and that's really important because the mission of Monad is decentralization. That is the North Star, and it's to make decentralized systems more performant and more powerful and more able to compete with their centralized counterparts and take on the world. I think what we have on day one, or now on day 10, is a really performant base layer that is highly decentralized, is going to become more decentralized over time as more nodes get added on from 170 to 200 to 300 to 400 to 1,000. And Monad is really just like the lowest friction way for any developer to deploy to a mainnet and get the app in front of many users and just like not have any technical issues. It'd be very, very simple. And that comes from combination of the blockchain itself, as well as tons of integrations, all of the common tooling that developers are used to using in the EVM, like Tenderly or Blockade or MetaMask or the Graph or NVO or just like tons of integrations that are there to make life really easy.
Yeah, one of just to stay on the marathon analogy for a bit, I think people have seen launches happen over the last year, and it's like, oh, it's supposed to be marathon, and the team comes out the gate sprinting, and then they die by mile 2. And I think Monad has had a refreshing launch, at least from what I can tell from people talking about it, where it really is like, you know, what the pace of mile 1 is supposed to be, and you see things accelerating, which has been great. And I think that has instilled a lot of confidence, and people are very excited to see what's up next. We have a bunch of apps launching in December that weren't day 1 ready, but will be live kind of in the first 45 days of mainnet. So a lot of exciting apps to look forward to using. But I remember we were on a call on Wednesday, I believe, and someone was asking about like, what are some of the exciting apps and what are some of the metrics that have stood out once mainnet has gone live? And you're like, well, I would like to remind you, these apps have been live for 2 days, literally 2 days. And it doesn't feel like that. Everyone who's been following along, probably the people who watch Mon in the morning, have felt like Mon has been a thing and live for 2 years now, but really it's been a short time. But yeah, I guess like in terms of some of the early numbers and what we've seen on mainnet, like has anything stood out to you now that we're like past the 1 week mark? I don't know, NadFun has put up some awesome numbers and stuff early on, but yeah, things in the early ecosystem is, what's kind of the high level overview of early ecosystem launches, and how exciting is it for apps to finally be able to go live on mainnet?
Yeah, I agree with what you said, that it's you wouldn't want when running a marathon to start sprinting right in the first 100 meters. But I think what builders and users want is to see slow and steady growth and consistency and compound growth. And they want to build in an environment that they know is going to be around 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and is going to continue to be at the forefront of technology and usage and ecosystem growth. So I think it's funny that I need to say that, but it is from previous, from many users' previous experiences with other new chains. Like, it feels like things come out of the gate with really big, flashy TVL numbers and timeline going crazy, and then like a couple weeks later, a month later, like everything has gone back to like that didn't exist, and TVL outflows start getting snapshotted and shared on the timeline. So I think the most important thing is just slow, steady upward growth in terms of all of the metrics that we look at, which really are like, I think the most important metric is app revenue. The second most important metric is fees paid to, blockchain fees paid. And then some of the other metrics that I look at are stablecoin market cap and DeFi TVL. And I think on all those fronts, I've been happy with the initial results in the first week and a half, with knowledge that there's a lot more to come and there's a lot of growth ahead, particularly on the app revenue side. Just looking at it at the moment on DeFi Llama right now, $20,000 in app revenue, chain revenue of $10,000 right now on DeFi Llama. And I think Monad is the 14th ranked chain by chain revenue right now, which is solid, considering it's like one weekend, but there's so much more to go from there. But I think it's about sustainable economics. It's about end users getting value from transacting and from utilizing the apps that they're using. And then if there is that value, then that portion of that can flow back to the app, to the blockchain, and ultimately result in a sustainable economy.
So yesterday, Thread Guy hosted Hasib and Santiago, and they were basically having a debate around L1s. And one of the main talking points was, I believe it was Hasib was arguing that Ethereum is like the US, and more broadly that L1s are like countries. And in the context of what you've shared about Monad, like a lot of the base layer infrastructure is there, it is operational. So if you think about this like a city state or a country, the roads are built, and drainage systems are in place, and plumbing and electrical is all set up. But now there's an opportunity to create this robust economy and build on top of that infrastructure layer. So one, would you agree with that? And is there anything you'd like to add on that front? And two, is there a certain like city, state, or country that you would compare Monad to, if you happen to agree with that analogy?
Right. I think that something that kind of gets lost in the debate sometimes is it's like, yes, I definitely agree that there's an incredible benefit to developers in building in an environment that is prepared for growth and that has a significant amount of activity already and has all of the ingredients and potential to grow to be much bigger and to handle handle much larger number of users and be infrastructure ready. I think another component though is that I think people naturally tend to, like, when they put one could spend too much time trying to reason abstractly about the category of L1s versus the category of whatever the alternative was, I guess apps, or I don't know what Santiago was arguing on the other side, but I think it's all, the specifics matter a lot also, like, and in particular, like if you look at Solana in 2021, the story was clear that Solana was a system that was built to scale, and there was a lot of technology and a lot of engineering rigor that enabled really cheap transactions and enabled a lot of usage, and something that could scale to like a broader financial set of users. The story about Solana in 2021 was decentralized NASDAQ, and some of the pieces were there at that point in time to actually enable that. But at the same time, there were still a lot of challenges, and in particular, Solana being a completely different stack for developers, requiring developers to adopt completely all new technologies. There were a bunch of things that were missing. Everything, not only did Solana need to be built from scratch, but all the tooling, the wallets, the indexing services, the block explorers, the routers, like all of this needed to be built from scratch, and it's a completely different environment. So I think that was still like quite challenging for folks to adopt Solana. And so I think the Solana story has been one of like some significant improvements from a performance and engineering perspective, and a commitment to delivering the best technology in service of developers so that they can grow their businesses, and so that you can get that, fastest growing company to $1 billion in revenue, like that kind of story. That's all been enabled through a lot of effort, but it's also been very challenging because of the vendor lock-in of having to utilize all SVM related technologies. And I think now here we are in 2025, and there's, in my view, and it's of course a biased one, but the Category Labs team is incredibly, they built an incredibly powerful technology stack that delivers really performant and decentralized, efficient blockchain network. But also, they've also made it work with everything else that's out there, all the developer tooling, EIP 7702, with all of the different wallets, with a whole bunch of stuff, just to make it super easy for developers to have the maximum success in the minimum amount of time and friction. And I think the story of efficiency is really one that is unique here, especially when intersected with ease of building and ease of iteration. So I think that's, when someone's trying to argue about like cities, and I think it's a helpful analogy, but not all cities are built the same. Not all countries are built the same. Like you want to be where it's, there's the minimum amount of friction and the minimum amount of like, when we talk about countries, we talk about why is there, why are so many of the tech startups in the US as opposed to in other countries? And a lot of it is driven by policy in the US that has generally been friendly to entrepreneurs and friendly to innovation. In the context of blockchains, I guess the difference is like, you just want it to be dead simple to be able to build. And I think that's really what Monad is all about. I think that's what we see in some of the early usage and early examples of folks that are multi-chain also switching to Monad and having a really seamless deployment experience, and just being able to really quickly flip that switch.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hit on one more topic pretty briefly, because I know we have some good questions from the community rolling in as well, and hopefully we can save time for a couple of those. But obviously a lot of conversation on the timeline around Monad's launch and post-launch as well. And it's been awesome to see how optimistic you are kind of leading that charge with obviously a lot of work left to do, a lot of progress left to be made.
but also a lot of faith in crypto. So I guess what would your kind of rallying call be, or your message to the doubters at the current stage?
Yeah, the thing that is special about decentralized systems is that they are resilient, they're unkillable. The decentralization, the sharding of control into many parties makes them something that ultimately are future proof. And I think we're still in the very early stages of adoption. We're in the early stages of crypto growing in terms of integrations to the rest of the world, integrations into many Web2 businesses. But we're starting to see some elements of that, like the recent announcements about Polymarket and Kalshi getting adopted by really large, significant businesses in the world. And I think that possibility is there. All of the groundwork is there, infrastructure is there, and there are amazing builders who are fighting right now and going through the struggle of those early months or years of building. It's quite challenging to build in crypto as well, but they're going through that challenge and coming out stronger. And I'm incredibly optimistic about the future of our industry in aggregate. I think also I would say that, people on a day-to-day basis are on crypto Twitter are mostly traders. And so they're just reacting to whatever the latest, I think I saw James post a graph of a sine wave or something. And then when you draw the slope you take at any moment in time the slope at that point and then extract outward. If the sine wave is looking downward, everyone thinks that everything's going to zero, and then when it's going up, the slope is crazy upward, and everyone's incredibly euphoric. But I think if you zoom out and if you think about what crypto enables, and you think about some of the bigger developments and proof points, and you think about the resilience of the builders in the MON ecosystem, and the fact that we will be here, us here on this live stream right now, we're going to be chipping away. We're going to be making things better every day. We already have an incredibly solid platform from which to grow. I think that you cannot help but be bullish in the long term and bullish on the success of the industry, but it's going to take time, and not everything will happen immediately, and that's natural because the things that are lasting are things that are built well, things that are built with purpose and with a lot of user feedback and a lot of iteration, and that literally just takes a little bit of time. So again, the more important thing is for growth to be steady, consistent, compounding. I don't know who said it, but the person who said that compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. I definitely believe in that. It's just about slow and steady growth rather than sort of flashy TVL numbers or things that we all know in our hearts are inherently transient.
Yeah, I think a misattribution to Albert Einstein. That is one of my favorite quotes as well. The compound interest. I think it's either eighth wonder of the world or most powerful force in the universe. It's a misattribution anyway, so somebody who's making, but it is a fantastic quote. Sentiment is a 2-day moving average, right? It's something that anyone who's been around the block on crypto Twitter is very aware of. Memory of a Goldfish. Any Ted Lasso fans out there? Not an early 2000 movie reference, but a 2020 era TV show reference. You gotta have the memory of a goldfish. So sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but it just is the way it is. I know we have some community questions we want to get to.
Yeah, speaking of chipping away at the long term, it's a new phase, I think, for the Monad community, and lots of folks are trying to figure out how to best use their skill sets, their networks to push things forward. And Mirth Mono asks a great question. He says, Keone, as someone who's non-technical, what's the best way, or perhaps a way, for me or others in the community to support Monad and stand out amongst the noise?
Yeah, I think Mirth Mono, you are doing a great job already of being a voice of reason on the timeline, and telling people when they're freaking out about something or being overly negative or maybe even overly positive, just like to zoom out a little bit and have some patience, and also just to have some optimism. So I think that what you're doing already is incredibly impactful, and um, yeah, like regardless of the number of likes that something like that gets at a given moment, I think it does have a huge impact. I think that in general, the thing that makes a blockchain environment grow over time is the community of people that are invested in its success, like emotionally, mentally invested in its success, who are celebrating the wins and calling out things that are promising, and also calling out things that are not good, and helping to be the white blood cells of the environment. Like, I think that if you think about early Ethereum community or early Bitcoin community or early Solana community, there were many moments where it probably wasn't, not that it wasn't clear that the project would continue to survive and succeed, because I think that usually that is kind of clear, but no one could predict that Bitcoin, or very few people could predict that Bitcoin has gotten to the level of adoption and mind share that it is today. But it's really the result of people just caring and showing up and encouraging other people who are of a similar mindset.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And overall, very excited to see what this kind of next era of the Monad community becomes, with people really chipping away and driving growth in the mainnet phase. Also, a question from Canatabik 4 Cores, who asks that they would love to hear what your first impressions of the mainnet were. Is everything going according to plan thus far? And also extends a huge congrats to you and the whole team. Says Monad is looking better than ever. But does the reality match the expectation? I would imagine that's something that's always kind of hard to predict. If we could predict the future, well, things would always be different. But any thoughts there? What your first impressions were of the mainnet, and whether that met, exceeded, or was different from your expectation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that expectations are, like, it's important when reasoning about any new thing or anything that's going to happen in the future to kind of like think about what to expect, like what logically is likely to happen. And I think that in a lot of new ecosystems, there's sort of a certain amount of usage that could be expected on day one, that's more of a vanity metric, like massive TVL coming from like massive incentives flowing into the ecosystem. And when that is sort of like prepared and priced in, like from an expectations perspective, then it happens, but it's not really that exciting. And so I think with Monad, the thing that was very exciting to me was it's a moment to prove to the world that the technology is real, it's really performant, it's really smooth, really easy to deploy, and migrate a ton of infrastructure over and a ton of existing multi-chain apps over, and start to get some activity, trading activity, allow people to express their bets, whatever that is, via trading and things like that, lending. But it's also just the moment where Monad native apps that have this is their mainnet moment as well, and that is a moment for them to earn their first dollar of revenue and have their first dollar of TVL, and that's a really special moment, but also just the beginning of like a lot of iteration and a lot of improvements over time. So for me, I think the mainnet was very much like in line with expectations, and very solid. The like reliability, lack of any outages or downtime not exceeded expectations, but you know, there was like in my head like a 10% probability that something might happen that was unexpected and that did not happen, therefore exceeded expectations there. But the real story is not, you know, the activity on day 1 or day 10. The real story is a consistent, solid base of users and solid base of activity, and then compound growth over the next couple of months. I think that we have all the ingredients to be just a environment that's compounding over time as builders like refine what they built further and get stronger and stronger. And as we see some things that happen that we can't predict, like I certainly couldn't predict that the emo meme coin would take off. I just think the memes are really funny. Or like I couldn't have predicted that Moncock would be like the most popular meme coin, or like there's just things that we cannot predict. And the thing that's special is there's a new environment. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of smart people that are working really hard and iterating fast. And we cannot exactly predict the trajectory, but we know the general direction.
Awesome. Well, Keone, this has been awesome to have you on. Really appreciate the perspective. I know you're action-packed morning, noon, and night here, chipping away, pushing things forward alongside the community and ecosystem. So we'll bring you back on soon after, you know, another week or two, and I'm sure there will be significantly more progress to share. The daily updates have been super, super exciting, and yeah, it's great to see that things are off and rolling, and the gears are turning for sure. So Keone, thanks for the time. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you, Keone.
For our viewers, we're going to bring up MetaMask in just a moment. But before we do, we asked a couple questions from the community to Keone, and we will spin for you during this next segment because I forgot to share the process by which we're going to reach out to our winners and make sure we collect the correct wallet address. So if you are on Twitch and you're commenting in, it would be extremely helpful if you could put your Twitter link, your Twitter handle in your Twitch bio. That will help us find you and reach out to you if you do win a MON prize on the spin wheel. We're going to need to collect your wallet. Please do not spam us. It might take us a couple minutes or even a day or so to actually facilitate things. We appreciate the patience. This is a new effort overall, and we want things to go as smoothly as possible on both sides. So again, if you are watching via Twitch and you are hopeful to have a spin today, make sure you add your X handle, your X account into your Twitch bio so that we can find you and that we can reach out to you to distribute your prize. Like I said, we will be spinning during the show today, so we'll catch up on Keone's spins during the next segment. I wanted to preface that we need a way to reach out to you first.
And clearly, if you're Mirth Mono, or I forget who the second question was, like, you obviously need to update your Twitch bio right now, so I would just get on that.
Exactly. And also, another new thing on our mainnet stream, I have been murdering my thirst all show thanks to Liquid Death, who kindly sent us a bunch of beverages. We will be murdering our thirst on every Monad in the morning going forward, and we appreciate the folks over at Liquid Death for sending us some great great beverages.
Yeah, and if you happen to work for Liquid Death and you're watching this, then don't be afraid to reach out about some form of actual sponsorship.
Pretty cool. Appreciate
right.
Liquid Death. Let's get into.
We are 5 minutes behind schedule. Do we have MetaMask in the lobby? Bingo.
Dropping in from the battle bus. Let's go. Live action. Love the shirt. Welcome to Monad in the Morning. Thanks for joining us. Love the purple glow as well.
Have to be, themed to the monads yet. So how's it going, everybody?
Fantastic.
Crispy mic too.
Yeah, got the mic as well. Full setup. Looking fantastic.
You guys are looking great. That Liquid Death actually has me jealous. I just have a regular water bottle here. So Liquid Death, please send me a bottle as well. That would be awesome.
We're murdering our thirst over here. We'd love to do a round 2 in person here in the studio in New York. So maybe we'll be able to make that happen and hook you up with some beverages so that you also can murder your thirst.
Let's go. You guys are stacked today. How many streams are you doing?
We're doing one stream, but it is a big stream. We have 6 guests coming through, and we're trying to stream more and more. It's a lot of fun, and we're giving away MON. We've got the community asking questions in the chat as well. So pretty wholesome experience, and of course appreciate you joining to rep the MetaMask side of things, which is fundamental to what Keone was just talking about, where Monad launched mainnet with really robust infrastructure layer, and certainly MetaMask is a huge component of that. It's been quite smooth out of the gate, and I've been a daily active user of MetaMask on Monad mainnet, but would love for you to share why prioritize Monad from day one, and what kind of work does that entail to get ready for a new mainnet launch?
Yeah, definitely. I think what's really interesting is that this was the first mainnet launch that we did with MetaMask, and Monad being that network, I think was the ultimate win. Being able to support a network like Monad out of the gate with all these native in-wallet activations, having ramping, bridging, and swapping easy for users, and also giving them the ability to discover dApps and really browse the Monad ecosystem, I think was really great, because that actually helped also open the eyes of what can you do on Monad? What's possible with this network? And that's what a lot of networks just don't have, which is what's the use case? What's the value proposition? So MetaMask starting to speak with Monad actually last year, this has been something that was planned for a very long time. The core infrastructure of MetaMask is always focused on being privacy preserving and security oriented. So we might move slower than other wallets, but it's always in favor of the user's security and privacy. And I think that the way that we were able to launch with Monad mainnet on day one was just a beautiful execution. And it's been amazing to see all the activity from MetaMask on the Monad mainnet.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that MetaMask has a lot of overlap with Tether in my mind, and we don't need to explain all of them. But one of them is that it is just one of the stickiest things that has ever been created for crypto, right? The majority of people that use MetaMask is probably the first wallet that they've used, and they are just diehard, right? They're like, I'm not going to switch. I don't want to transport my keys. And it has led to this crazy network effect, or not really network effect, but almost just viral growth of oh, how do I set up a crypto wallet? We use MetaMask.
Right.
Which is just one of the best places to be in crypto. And getting that day one support, right? We have a lot of people whose day one on-chain history started with MetaMask. And so being able for all of those people to access add network support for Monad very seamlessly and get going on the chain was enormous.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool is, we're combining the technology of your network and our wallet. And there's tons of statistics out there when it comes to different metrics. For example, MEV bots, front run attacks. There's been millions lost on EVM as a whole over the past month alone from front run attacks and MEV bots. But MetaMask, the proprietary tech, Lava Moat, all of the security heuristics that we have built in to help users of Monad, only a few dollars of those tens of millions were MetaMask users. And it's not a few $1,000,000, it's literally a few dollars worth of users' funds were susceptible to those types of attacks. So when you couple that with new people coming into crypto, being onboarded, how do you make sure that they actually embrace this technology instead of getting scammed, getting their wallets drained, and then saying, crypto is a scam, I'm never touching that again? And I think we're in the perfect position to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that stands out to me about this, right, is it's a sign to the market that MetaMask is moving quickly. They are on top of the next thing. There's just a lot of change, and like, I don't know, the energy of this is MetaMask intends to be like the major player for large things that are happening in crypto in the future.
Well, look, let's be honest though. The prior history was never like going this multi-chain route. So a lot of changes have happened in MetaMask, especially the core infrastructure over the past 2 years, making sure that we can support non-EVM, making sure that we have this interoperability across all these different types of networks that are and protocols that are being launched. So, it does take a lot of time when you're working with a 10-year-old code base, and also making sure that everything that we implement, any API or service provider that we work with, is actually has the diligence performed, maintains the core values of MetaMask, which is to be privacy preserving. And then you get to a point where we can now efficiently scale, and to be able to launch with Monad mainnet day one as the first network inside of MetaMask, outside of, the only other network that we've done outside of the default networks for the past year has been Say Network. It's really priming it up for people to see, like, what can you do? How do you do it safely? And, do you feel comfortable when you're navigating, connecting to dApps, confirming transactions? And I think that's where MetaMask really stands out. And I'm sure people have been seeing like different elements of MetaMask coming to light, like MetaMask rewards, the MetaMask card. There's a lot of different things cooking in the background for Monad. Not gonna give away too much information, but super exciting stuff coming, and all these things plug directly into the Monad ecosystem.
Beautiful. Well, speaking of things coming, we had an interesting question pop up from Diego Vaz in the community, who saw that you pushed the transaction shield, and as he describes it, kind of an insurance for your transactions. He says it's really cool, and asks if you're considering, and if you are, when, pushing that into Monad.
Yeah, that's actually just being rolled out. That's something that we want to roll out to every chain, and also be able to make sure that insurance, that coverage is there for each transaction. Being able to say that there's up to $10,000 of coverage every time that you confirm a transaction is one of the key things that I think is a blocker for people coming into crypto. When they say, well, what happens if I click on the wrong thing? What happens if I end up losing everything? Well, this is the proof, that security in crypto exists, insurance in crypto exists, and when you can bundle it into one clean flow, it makes the user friction astronomically less, and that's definitely coming to Monad.
Love it. Can you unpack like the details of how that works? Like, any transaction is covered up to $10,000, like even if it's user error? Is that correct?
Yeah, so no, this is a great question, because sometimes people are like, well, what happens if my private keys are leaked? What happens if I install malware and it ends up draining my wallet? Those are scenarios that are outside of our control. You still have to maintain your own security, but when it comes down to, let's say, seeing a free claim or a free airdrop and navigating to that website, and the Wallet Guard security engine, the Blockade security engine, all the security heuristics from Chain Patrol and everybody that we're working with is going to verify during that time that, hey, this might not actually be a free mint. This is actually not a free claim on Monad. And at that point in time, they would be presented with either a check to make sure that it is legitimate, or an X symbol telling them, hey, this is actually not what it's really claiming to be. So in that instance, we are already simulating that transaction. We already understand how that contract works, even if it was spun up just a few seconds ago. So this doesn't require any manual human input. This is a machine learning model that's able to determine if something's actually a scam before the user might even enter the website. So, or even open their wallet, which is an additional layer of defense. So if we are explicitly stating that something is safe and you go ahead and still confirm the transaction and get drained, that transaction is covered.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And that's huge for users, especially those who have not been around crypto for a while. Lot of people who are in that camp, like not crypto natives, have gotten excited about the launch of Monad, and maybe participated in the token sale on Coinbase, and then they ask the obvious next question, like, oh well, I hear there's a bunch of apps in the early ecosystem on Monad, like how can I go check those out? And of course it's pretty straightforward to point to something like MetaMask and say, set this up, make sure you've got a balance in there to cover gas. But then the security side is so obviously important, but so kind of hard to figure out because there's so many different attack vectors. If you're new to the space, it can just be really tough. So it's awesome to see that it's been a huge priority from your side, and will be going forward as well.
Yeah, and I think another great thing that Monad did, and this is like my personal opinion and my personal take here, because we do the same thing for any of these networks that we're activating, is having a discovery page, having an ecosystem page that showcases all of the dApps and everything you can do on the network in one place. It keeps the environment guardrailed so that the user doesn't have to go and perform their own research and potentially lead to a fund loss incident or lead to their assets getting drained. I mean, we're expecting people and the masses to come into crypto and be their own banks when the masses don't even understand how to manage their own passwords. So the most support that we can give to these users and make sure that experience is guardrailed is actually a massive win. And the MetaMask portfolio has a dedicated Monad ecosystem page where you could see everything that's happening on Monad. You could see trending tokens, you could see upcoming events, all these different things that are being built out with this virtual real estate that we have, so that we can funnel these users into something that they know, no matter what they click on in that environment, they're safe.
Beautiful. Love it. Another good question came in from the community. This one's a bit more lighthearted, and I think at least for this segment, we'll cap the community questions here so we can do some prize spinning. And Michael will tell you how that works in just a second. But Vic Rue from the Monad community asks, why the fox on the logo? Is there lore there? I'm personally not aware.
Oh, the MetaMask fox. Mm-hmm. Well, that would be a question for Dan Finley. And that's the mascot, and it's actually, we did update the MetaMask branding, the MetaMask logo, and the new version that has just the MetaMask text, there's actually a fox hidden inside if you look closely. And once you see it, you will never unsee it. So it's really cool the way that, we're implementing this branding to have the character, but then also be able to represent that character just in the plain textual logo, which, I think is a great way to pull off the branding, the IP around the fox. And there's actually some really cool stuff coming with that as well.
Super cool. Love it. And a little alpha leak as well. Go find that fox in the new branding. Yeah. Jessup, you have a question?
What does the fox say?
What does the fox say? Yeah, we're going to find out soon, guys. 2026 is the year.
Love it. Okay, so what we do here, I know this is your first time on the show, hopefully not your last, but we take questions from the community, and among other ways to recognize the community, we spin the wheel for prizes. And today is the first time that we are giving away MON on the wheel. So we have had a couple community questions. We actually have two wheels here. So we have the small wheel, which you can see front and center here. And then we have another wheel which if you land on a certain slot on the small wheel, you get a spin on the big wheel. The small wheel has smaller prizes in MON. The big wheel over here has bigger prizes in MON denomination. So we've got 4 spins to run through here. First up, we have Mirth Mono going in order that the questions were asked. And just again for the community, especially if you are commenting in from Twitch, it'll be super helpful if you can put your X handle, your X name in your Twitch bio so that we can reach out to you and collect your MetaMask address and disperse the prize. So without further ado, Jessup, you want to hit that wheel for Mirth Mono?
Love your setup, by the way.
42.
42.
42.
It's like the AI network. Built
42.
on Mono.
Yeah, 42.
It's
Okay,
the meaning
Mirth
of
Mono.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mirth Mono has 42 MON. Not the biggest prize on the wheel, certainly, but it is also not the smallest. So
All right,
42
Who knows
MON.
what that 42 Mon could turn into? So
We didn't say it.
Canatabic 4 cores is up next. Canatabic 4 cores, of course. Add your X name to your Twitch bio if that's where you commented in from. And
Ready?
Jessup, hit that wheel.
Wait.
10.
10.
10.
what are rookie numbers over here? What's on that wheel? I can't even see. What are the options?
So the
This
small
wheel
wheel
doesn't-
is small prizes, but maybe yeah, I guess we didn't really think through the low probability of getting to the big wheel, so we might have to adjust this on the fly at some point later in the show.
As people know, though, once it hits the big wheel, it's gonna hit it back to back to back because that's just what tends to happen every time.
Yep, 100%. Well, if we keep hitting only the small wheel, then maybe we'll create some new slots that also give a higher probability of sending you over to the big wheel. All right, we had a good question from Diego Voss as well. So Diego Voss, long time Monad community
This one's for
supporter.
you, Diego. Oh, 1.
This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal thus far. We might have to literally run this back and just give all of these a bonus spin. We kind of adjust the rules on the fly a little bit here as
We make the rules and we follow them.
yes. All right, let's
We
hit.
can collectively get over 50 Mon right now.
Yeah, this is brutal. It's actually, I mean, shout out KZ from the quant team who helped us put together some of the math here. But yeah, we might have to bump these numbers
He
up.
just sent me a DM and said, "Hey, can I get one of those liquid deaths?" So maybe that's what he needed to up it a little bit.
Yeah, we need to murder KZ's thirst, and we need to jack up these prizes for sure. All
Is
right.
that everybody or we have...
I think we have. Did we get Vikru yet?
Nope.
All right, let's hit it for Vikru.
Vikru, let's hope it's a big wheel.
Let's go.
0.
0. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely cursed. All right,
Throw the whole studio out, bro.
yeah, no, we need to absolutely delete this entire episode thus far. I think we should give each of these first question askers another spin. Or do you have another idea?
I have another idea.
All right.
We play by the rules at Mana in the morning, and you get what you get. Ask another question, and maybe you'll get a better prize.
Wow.
All right. Well, I think
Kevin
we can.
laying down the law.
Someone's got. I mean, look, we make up the rules, but once we make up the rules, we play by the rules. You know, I don't know why we have single-digit numbers on here, but look, if that's what the rules are, then we play by them. Code is law.
And we're only in.
Is there a poly market for this? Or
There could be. There could be. Polymarket recently integrated with Monad. If you have USDC or Mon on Monad mainnet, you can now use that to predict things on Polymarket if you say.
Beautiful. And we're only 55 minutes into today's show. We've got
These numbers may change.
We've got
in the
2 more
intermission.
hours of programming. So if if this seems light by the end of the show and the community has stuck around, well, maybe we'll juice those numbers a bit, do some extra spins.
Those are rookie numbers, guys. Rookie numbers.
These are really rookie numbers. I do agree with you, Michael. But we have to follow the rules. So we make the rules and we follow the rules. It's been fantastic having you on today. I know lot coming, shared some alpha leaks on the MetaMask side, so we'll have to run it back soon, and we'll have to juice up these numbers on the wheel as well, because we have all the big numbers on the big wheel. We've got several that are 5 digits
The big
on
wheel's
the big
great.
wheel. So
Why not just spin the big wheel? How about that?
You have to earn the big wheel.
All right, yeah, that's true.
MetaMask is sponsoring the big wheel.
Yeah, listen, MetaMask, if you want to commit live on stream to sponsor a spin on the big wheel right now, we absolutely can.
What's the most valuable thing on the big wheel? I'm not trying to give away a Tesla over here or something.
69,420 MON.
That's kind of sick, actually.
69,420 MON.
Yep. So if you move over to the big wheel, the prizes get a lot better. Except for there's one that's 0.67. There's only one that sucks.
0.67 MON.
Yeah.
yeah, but that big
All right.
number is
You know what? MetaMask will sponsor a spin on the big wheel.
Bang, bang. And who got 0? That's probably the person. Vikru got 0?
Yeah.
Let's hit the spin.
All right, this one's for Vikru.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go, Victor.
Imagine it's 0.67.
25,000 MON.
Holy, we have our first big wheel winner.
Courtesy of
Congratulations,
MetaMask.
Courtesy of MetaMask, 25,000 MON appearing in your MetaMask, Vikru, at some point in the near future.
Bingo.
Nakashi, let's go. Dude, this is an incredible format. Bring on guests and then pressure them to sponsor wheel giveaways. This might be
This was a setup, yo. Definitely set up.
Yeah, we spin the little wheel and they're like, wait, I feel bad. We're like, all right, Mert is sponsoring. This is incredible. Look at that. Well, Vikru is famous in the Monad community for doing incredible cosplays. I don't know, Vikru, if you want to do one for MetaMask based on them sponsoring the spin, but that would be very cool.
Oh my God.
And I definitely...
What door have I opened right now?
Oh my gosh, I definitely cannot promise a retweet from the MetaMask main account, and I would never do that. But Vikru's famous for these cosplays.
It might be possible, Victor. It might be possible.
It might be possible. You heard it here first. 25,000 MON. Bingo.
And we have a lot more to come, so thank you very much for joining us today. If you're viewing remotely, stick with us. We've got 2 more hours of action-packed programming, starting with Prisma XAI coming up next. We're going to cut to a brief intermission. Thank you very much, Michael, MetaMask. Awesome stuff. Look forward to having you back on soon.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. Thank you, legends.
Stay
Talk to you soon.
hydrated. Yes, sir.
History is shaped by moments of birth. From stars igniting in the void to life emerging from a single cell. The light that conquered the dark. The engine that put the world in motion. The first flight that shrank the world. And the internet that connected us all. Each one bent the arc of possibility. Each one redefined what it meant to be human. Now another birth arrives. A foundation where the old rules are left behind. Where money moves without middlemen. Where opportunity is open to all. A world where speed and scale unlock a creation without limits, not owned by one, but by everyone. It's the birth of what's next. Monad.
New types of investments and asset classes, capital formation, credit, like all these things can get reinvented, made more efficient in the crypto world. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do. We're trying to create more economic freedom in the world and update the financial system.
I'm just incredibly excited that the MON token will be the first token ever on Coinbase's new token sale platform.
Why Monad, right? Why is MON the first token sale on the platform?
There's a lot of attributes that we like to look for. How committed is the team? Is the team interested in building something for the long term? Is the team reputable? Are they devoted to what they're doing? We also look at things like, what is going to appeal to the Coinbase user?
Would you say that you have an ambition to become a super app and replace the legacy banks?
Yes, we do want to become a super app and provide all types of financial services. We want to become people's primary financial account. And I think that crypto has a right to do that.
Our belief is that pretty much all transactions will settle on blockchains eventually, and that all money will be digital.
This is an acknowledgement that distributed ledgers and crypto assets are no longer on the fringes, but are increasingly woven into the fabric of the payment and financial system.
Sound?
Yeah.
Can you see us? Can you hear us, chat?
Can you hear us, chat? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes. Yes. Welcome. How's it going?
Good, good. Good morning. Good morning. It's bright and early here, 8 in the morning.
Oh, West Coast?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you're murdering your thirst as well with
a white monster.
With a white monster. Absolutely.
Dude,
love it.
the white monster sponsorship that's the king of sponsorships, I think.
It may well be. Well, thank you for joining today and excited to learn a bit more about Prisma. I've been following on Twitter for a couple weeks now, and it seems that you have robots. So this is going to be an exciting segment. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about Prisma as well. It's great to have you on.
My name is Bailey. I'm the CEO of Prisma. Prisma X, actually. The X is not silent. So I've had a really long background in robotics, going back all the way to 2012, back when all the robots could do was fall over. And the robots still do a lot of falling over, but these days we hope that the robots do a little more, right? Everything from doing your dishes to whatever, manufacturing your car. And it's a really exciting time for robotics because we finally hit the point where the technology is mature enough that we can get a robot in every house. But in order to do that, we need a lot of things. We need smarter AI, we need smarter machines. And to make that happen, we need a lot of operations, a lot of data, a lot of these coordination services. And that's what Prismax builds. We're building the coordination layer for the humans behind the machines for things like distribution, data collection, quality assurance. And why crypto? People often ask me. Well, I've been in crypto for a really long time, since before Coinbase, before the word crypto was a thing. My dollar bitcoins, of course, sold those bitcoins and used them to buy pizzas, because back then, why were you'd be crazy to hold this Bitcoin thing, right? It was just fake money that people were fabricating. But we've seen the cycles come along. We've seen Bitcoin hit 1,300, then a few thousand, then 20,000, and to where we are now, the pipe dream of 100,000. And one thing's remained clear: if you want to get a lot of people excited about something completely new, crypto is an incredible way to make that happen. And we think that's what robotics needs right now. It needs a lot of mainstream traction. It needs a big push to really get robots out in the wild.
Love it. Love it. I'm interested to hear where you think we're at in terms of like this overall robot takeover. You mentioned kind of potentially one of the end goals being to have a robot in every house. Like, what stands between, you know, where we are today and that happening? Like, is there a near future in which I likely have a robot in my house and Kevin has a robot in his house?
I think a lot of it depends on how you define robot. I think within about 2 years, all of us are going to have these really smart machines in our homes, which are more complicated than your typical Roombas. The I like to say the most degrees of freedom you could get in a home appliance right now is two. It's a Roomba, right? You got the wheel, you got the two wheels, and I guess three if you count the vacuum suction. But there's so much more that you can do for not a lot more money. And I think that's really where it's going to kick in. AI is going to open up a new set of user interfaces, which allows much more complicated machines to show up in our day-to-day lives. I think when a lot of people say robot, they mean a bipedal humanoid or like a wheeled humanoid, something that looks like a person with two arms and a head and cameras and wheels or legs. I think that's probably 7 to 10 years off, depending on how optimistic you are and how loose you are with the definition of humanoid. I don't think it's not a hardware problem anymore. You can buy these robots for whatever the $15,000-$20,000 that everyone says is such a big deal. I think the problem really is user experience and intelligence and safety and stuff like that. All these robots are just being built as robots. Like, engineers will go forward and build sort of a optimal robot, but in terms of like the nuances of a product, the thing that separates an iPhone 17 from the brick from 1999, that's got a long way to go. Like, we're still at the brick stage, and that's not a commercially beloved product, right? Like, not a lot of people own the bricks in 1999.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's always easier to kind of, see these things in retrospect, I think, but I would imagine it's a big challenge as well to facilitate this kind of coordination layer. Then you have all these, challenges to solve on the hardware side of things as well. In terms of the crypto component specifically, can you unpack that a little bit more deeply?
I think for us at least, crypto is all about leveraging the organic scaling from communities, right? So one of the big problems for getting robots in the wild, probably the biggest problem, is that we have no robots in the wild. So for all of these end-to-end machine learning approaches that they're trying to use to build intelligence for their robots, we have a really severe bootstrapping problem, and that's really limiting the growth. Like, the largest robot fleets for data collection are maybe outside of like these super dedicated data factories out of the manufacturers themselves. themselves. We're just using them to test the robots. The biggest fleets for robotic data collection are maybe 1 to 200 robots right now, and that's a far cry from the 8 billion people every day experiencing 8 billion times 24 hours of data all around the world. So ultimately, I think leveraging the organic scaling from things like well-crafted mechanisms and incentives and transparent validation allows you to scale that 100 robots to the 100,000 million robots all over the world that we need to get things going. I think if we had 1 million robots in the wild already, if we could somehow figure out how to get 1 million robots into the wild, we'd have robotics like tomorrow. Like robots would be in your house in a year, because leveraging that scale of data with the algorithms we have now would work magic, but we don't. And it's hard to go centrally scale all this distribution and all this data collection. I need to go invest into the robots, get them out in the community's hands, make sure you're not overfitting on any single community. But if you start the other way, you say, here are the incentives, here are the mechanisms, here's what you can get, and you let the community decide for themselves how to do the scaling, you can scale much quicker, and you don't have to make the decisions, which results in a much better slice of reality.
Yeah, love the way you think about it. You gotta have a question, I can tell.
Yeah. I have been following the robotics space very closely for about 1 year. And my question is on the actual robotics themselves. Like you see companies like Figure AI or like Dyna coming out, or Apptronic coming out with like these new, it seems like just hyper advanced like iRobot type hardware and software. And like, yeah, I guess what do you see that side of robotics looking like on like a 2 to 3 year time horizon? So like just industry wide in general.
So there are a lot of manufacturers of these really complicated robots, or like bipedal humanoids, I guess is the classification they all fall under. By last count, there's probably 30 or 40 manufacturers around the world doing it. And the main barrier to those robots is really the software right now. I think the hardware is basically like done and done. There's really, like, you could keep on building these and they would all stay the same. And frankly, it doesn't matter because the software is so rudimentary compared to what the hardware is capable of. I think, as I said, the hardware scaling really comes down to, the software scaling really comes down to, can we get the data scaled to the point where the AI works well? If you go look at all of the demos from these really big shops like Apptronic and Figure, they're really overfit on some scenario because their data collection fleet is like 8 robots, right? Like Figure doesn't have a ton of robots right now. They're not really in series production, so they have a few robots which are sitting there collecting data. They use them to train these little foundation models, which are then used for these well-produced demo videos. But I think ultimately, in order to get these into production, you do need to scale the data to something several. For if you compare to Figure, it's like countless orders of magnitude larger. Like I have to add a lot of zeros at the end of what the amount of data they have to be able to get the models to scale. And I think ultimately that's the limiting factor. The hardware is already there. It's been there since about 2021, 22, I'd say, which is to say the hardware just so vastly exceeds what the code is capable of right now. Like, sure, the robots can do backflips and side flips and barrel rolls, but ultimately, is that what you need in your home? Like, do you really want a robot in your house that can leap 9 feet in the air? The answer is probably not, because you would like some assurance that when the code does go wrong, the robot does not go through the ceiling.
Fair enough. Yeah, you'd have to have some pretty high ceilings to allow those guys to jump up 9 feet. Although it would make for some pretty funny content.
That would be great. I hope I see on Twitter very soon how high a robot can jump. I'm sure it's astronomical. I think that it is the most exciting thing happening in tech right now. And exciting from like a visceral standpoint. Like when you think about the future, this is the most real thing that is most dramatically different from how the world works today. Maybe talking about like a 3 to 5 year time horizon for Prisma, right? Like what are you guys expecting the acceleration of Prisma to look like on a time horizon that's like that long?
I think in 5 years, we want to be one of the forces that really made robots happen, right? Like, I think this is a huge opportunity for crypto and decentralization to come out and blaze the trail and lead and not follow. It's such a new space. There's a lot of money pouring into it, not a lot of resources, and there's like utter chaos everywhere. So really having these having transparent mechanisms, having ways for people to participate is going to be one of the big things that drives robotics forwards. For a lot of the other bits of AI, decentralization has sort of followed, not led, right? Like we have decentralized versions of Mercor, we have decentralized model labs, we have decentralized trading, but ultimately their goal there is to build a sort of slightly worse to significantly worse, but whatever, open source, decentralized, disaggregated version of a centralized tool. I think for robotics, it can be completely different. It's not necessarily just decentralized robotics or DPAI or whatever you call it, but it really just is robotics. And because it's such a new space, we have a chance for the whole industry to just grow up decentralized, and it'll become the natural way of doing things, right? It's like if you show someone who was born in 2008 Uber, and you tell them there was this thing called a taxi, and you like called some random phone number and you asked the taxi to show up, and it showed up an hour later after you scheduled it, they'd be like, what the hell, this is absurd. Because Uber, the decentralized version of a taxi, is how life works right now. You don't say I'm calling a taxi, you say I'm calling an Uber. And I think it's the same thing for robotics. You're not going to say like, oh, I'm the robot data company, or like I'm buying 1 million robots to do this data collection. It will just happen in a disaggregated way, and it'll become normal. And that's ultimately what we want to make happen.
Beautiful. We had a good question come in from the community as well. Shout out Mirth Mono, one of our legendary question askers. Mirth Mono says, very cool introduction to Prisma X, and thanks you. Says, I imagine price is one of the main barriers to making robotics widely accessible. Do you see cost as the biggest limitation, or are there other challenges that play just as large a role?
I think it's an interesting sort of mental state problem, I'd say. So look at this, right? If I could sell you a magic box that would do all of the chores in your life for $30,000, I think a lot of people would buy this box. The reason people don't buy the box is because they're skeptical that the box will actually do what I claim. So most people see these robots falling over or see these funny YouTube videos, and they're like, I'm not going to pay anyone more than like $3,000 for that piece of crap. And I think honestly, you'd be right now. If I tried to sell you a robot for $30,000 and told you it would do things, you would be right to say like this is a scam. But I think we'll hit the point where these robots become meaningfully useful, and once that happens, cost will become much less of an issue than we think it is, especially in the early target markets. And this sort of vision of the future that we're thinking about, where there's a robot in every home, does only work in certain target markets, right? Like it doesn't work when you have a lot of labor around. If you go to like Malaysia and you tell them I'm building robots to sweep the floors, they'll look at you like you're a maniac. Be like, we have perfectly good people who are sweeping floors. Why are you building an expensive machine to do it? But I think for those countries, there's a whole different value prop where they're trying to enable manufacturing of more and more advanced systems using these machines. So for a lot of places, the focus really is on scaling these large-scale manufacturing fleets using robots. And for them, it's a clear sort of B2B value prop there that if you can get ROI on the robot you're paying for, then obviously you'd buy it. So it's an interesting question. What will come first, the home use cases or the manufacturing use cases? And there's sort of an argument for either side, right? Like the manufacturing is clear ROI, higher budget, but it's also a much more precision task than going and cleaning up after the dishes or sweeping the floor, which is a trickier sell, but you can sell more of them.
Yeah, I think one thing, like the thing that pilled me on robotics in the future was like, you just do a little bit of math, and figure out like what the cost of labor is for a robot. And I'm not going to derive it here, but it ends up being like the cost of labor is around $2 an hour. And it's like, now you have this thing that can work, 23 hours per day, 7 days a week, and you can pay it $2 an hour to do anything that a human can do on the labor side. And that is just like, your next thought is like, that is ridiculous. And then maybe there's going to be regulations that prevent this from going through. And you're like, well, it's an economy. Game theory will kick in and somebody will use the robots. Then everyone will be forced to. And it's like, obviously you need to use the robots to do this. It's just so much more efficient. And then when you realize that like that will happen, the next thought process is, well, how large is the market for this? And I think, at least from the numbers that I saw, it's like 40% of the entire world economy is labor. It ends up being like a $50 trillion market. And you're like, okay, so this thing that is, you know, the average cost of labor is maybe like $20 per hour. This thing that is 10 times cheaper is going after one of the largest markets in the world. And then you're like, yeah, and it's pretty much just guaranteed going to happen. Right? You're like Amazon, like Figure just raised it a $40 billion valuation, not just, but maybe 6 months ago. Like, this is just Garrett. This is the next wave. And it's crazy to think what the future will look like with this.
I think the only thing that rises faster than like random meme coins right now is the valuation of robotics companies. The figure valuation is insane for a company that has like 6 robots.
So here, this has been discussed a lot by Hasib recently for L1s. But I think that like a fair way to frame it is, what is the total size of the market that they're going after? And what is the % chance that they do it? And it's basically a prediction market on them taking the size of the market. And so if the labor market's 50 trillion and you think there's like a power law distribution and the robotics company that wins it, $40 billion, you're putting like, you know, 0.1% on them doing it. And it's like, if they're the industry leader, it's like them and Tesla, it's not that expensive, like all things considered. It takes a while to get there, obviously, right? I think that the manufacturing and scaling is like clearly the main thing that stands in the way. But I agree, dude. This is like people are like, Monad, you know, early valuation. You're like, guys, like Figure literally just raised at $40 billion. Like, everyone relax. Like this is just a thing that is going to exist in the economy moving forward. Yeah. Should we do some questions?
Yeah, we did get another one from Kaivan.eth, who asks, or actually maybe there's no dot there. Kaivan.eth says, in the long run, does Prisma X envision Monad becoming core infrastructure for autonomous robots to transact, learn, and coordinate on chain? And I guess I'll expand on that a bit more. Like, how do you, on the builder side at Prisma X, think about evaluating different chains, and you know, what's the impetus or appetite for Monad specifically?
I think Monad's a good chain to build on for any of these frontier projects, because first and foremost, it's a chain which is focused on these frontier projects, and it has technical features which are useful for these sort of high-speed real-time transactions that I think we're going to see in robotics. And probably even more importantly, it's got a community which is interested in these things, right? If you go look at many of the sort of legacy L1s, their focus really is on institutional finance. Like, from day one, right? Ethereum's narrative was, we want to become the new money, and the focus is on going and plugging into these sort of things that already existed and taking them on chain and making the currency digital. I think for this new crop of L1s, and I think Monad's probably one of the best of the new crop of L1s. There's much more focus on enabling things which were previously impossible using traditional currency, and I think that's what's really important, right? So in the current stage of robotics, where we're just sort of everyone's building these sort of offline processing systems for things like data, really the focus is on community and people who are just excited about robotics and all of these frontier technologies. As things move forwards and we get a lot more dynamic real-time transactions, maybe like online learning, online demonstrations, I think just execution speed and focus on real time is going to become much more important, right? The folks who build agents will tell you that robots are just sort of agents in the real world, and all of the technology requirements and narratives that apply to these agents that are springing up will eventually apply to robots. The difference being that robots have clear product market fit. That's a big problem that the agents are having a lot of problem finding right now. current AI agent, like sort of AI Web3 payment driven agent economy is a little bit circular right now, where the agents go trade your meme coins, which somehow fabricate returns, which go then pay the transaction fees on the L1 and so on. But there's like no way to leap out of the system and really engage with the rest of the world. But for robotics, there clearly is. If you had robots, then obviously they'd be engaging in the real world and you'd be generating trillions of dollars of value. So having blockchains which are ready for this kind of high volume, high speed transaction, I think is super important. There will come a day fairly soon where the robots will have to collaborate and pay each other. Obviously, Visa and MasterCard are gonna take one look at this and be like, hell no, I'm not participating in this kind of nonsense, which leaves a wide open gap for blockchain technologies to make this happen.
Yeah, I love that perspective, and I'm also thinking of kind of the very obvious smooth brain question that's been tossed out. Well, maybe not even smooth brain, but just like the very obvious question that's been tossed around AI in general, and then robotics as well. And that is this going to take all of the jobs? How do you see both AI and robotics impacting kind of the future of the labor force? I know we talked about manufacturing a bit and home use as well, but like from a broad strokes perspective, how do you think this affects the future of labor opportunities and economics?
I'm generally not too concerned about robotics because in my view, robots are just a new type of tool, and it does shuffle people around. It shuffles what skills are important, and that's jarring at first, but like every time there's like a step change in what tools are available, we get sort of a jarring shift in what skills are valuable, and we've seen that several times throughout history. But it's never been a bad thing. You always look back on history and you're like, yes, it is really nice the loom, the steam engine, and the automobile are invented. No one's like, goddamn automobiles, because of the engines we no longer have places, right? We're like, goddamn looms, because of them women no longer have to sit in their houses weaving cloth. It's all a good thing. It's all a good thing if you be there are lunatics who are like, I wish we didn't have loom, steam engines or cars, but they're like on the fringes of society and no one likes them very much. So for sure, robots are going to be the same thing. We're going to look back in 30 years and be like, wow, there was a time when we had to like lift heavy sacks of concrete ourselves, and there was a guy whose life it was to just do that day after day, right? That's a shitty job. No one actually wants that job. And I think with better tools, we're going to shift to more forms of things like teleoperation and remote operation, so that these people can still contribute value and skill to the world, but they no longer have to do it in the sun for 12 hours a day and like risk getting hurt. I think the whole like broader AI, I guess LLMs is a bigger question. The problem with LLMs is I think they're displacing some jobs in corporate structures which exist only to keep people employed. So there's going to be a little bit of shift as we weed out some of the inefficiencies and things like data entry. But the people like did data entry were like pretty smart people anyway. Like so they'll be able to find new opportunities. It's a little jarring if you're like employed as a guy who fills out the columns of Excel spreadsheets now. You now have to go figure out something else to do, and that can be irritating for the next year or so. But it's also ultimately a good thing. I can't imagine anyone's like, wow, I love filling out Excel spreadsheets for 8 hours a day at my corporate job.
Oh my god, we need somebody clip the caster hat ran and it's almost like an ode to technology. I actually think I just became a loom truther. I am anti-loom, I believe. I will prefer my significant other to create my textiles, and I can wear them to the office. This is fantastic. I very much enjoyed that. That was my favorite part of MON that morning so far.
Oh,
great.
Absolutely.
You know what? It's just like, it's literally the video we play during the intermissions.
The birth of
technology. We need to put the loom into the video somehow. Oh my gosh.
Well, this has been fantastic. We're coming up on time here, Bailey. It's been a huge pleasure to have you on. Where can the community find you? Where can they get involved? Of course, we've got the Prisma X, the Prisma X handle tagged on the stream, and we've got your personal X handle, here on the screen as well. But where should the community go to get involved? Where should they go to learn more and stay tuned?
Yep. So you can go to app.prismax.ai to sign up and teleoperate a real robot arm. You're collecting data to make machines more intelligent. You're engaging very, very early with the robotic industry as a whole. There are leaderboards where you can prove your skills as a teleoperator. And ultimately, we think this is a small but growing example of the future robotic economy, where people are sitting at home in their nice air-conditioned rooms, controlling these machines remotely, doing crazy stuff. There's more exciting stuff coming up. I really want to build a full-size mech and have people teleoperate it, but everyone tells me that, oh, that is unsafe. You cannot have people pick up cars over the internet. But ultimately, right, I think what's available on the app is an emerging example of the crazy stuff you'll be able to do in the future. So it's super exciting. And then obviously follow us on our socials, et cetera, join Discord, the usual stuff.
We do have one last question we need to bring in from our good friend Chaos Walker. Chaos Walker asks, question for Caster Hat. As a lonely 35-year-old man, will I be able to find a robot wife by, later in life?
Good question. That's a good question. I think the answer is yes.
Yes, you're saved, Chaos Walker. You're saved.
I think that use case is probably going to be a very commercially valuable use case. I'll leave it to your imaginations to figure out what it looks like. But let's just say that a lot of regulations can be skirted if some actions are provided remotely through a machine. I think we're not gonna. But so there's a lot of interesting opportunity out there. That sector is always a very big sector, which no one talks about, right? It's currently the rumor has it, it's whatever trillions of dollars for the current incarnation. And once you can reach out of the browser into the real world, I bet there are many more $1 trillion to come.
Well, if you don't want to be standing in the way of the loom, that's for sure.
Merce says, and that robot wife will double as a loom.
Yes, dude, if my robot wife can double as a loom. I literally told you my shirt was wrinkled today. My girlfriend picked out this shirt.
So good. Your wife is also a digital loom.
I need homemade textiles.
Shirts.
This might be actually the number one 30-minute segment, in my opinion, of Mon in the Morning ever. Caster Hat, Bailey, this is an absolute blast. Thank you for coming on. We're going to have to bring you on again soon.
Great to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks very much for joining. If you are tuned in remotely, stick with us. We've got Monday Trade coming up. We're not going to do an intermission unless Jessup needs an intermission.
No.
All right, let's.
Kevin just shaking his head for me.
No, we can keep going. We're on a roll, dude. That was absolutely epic. I hope somebody clips. There's so many.
Oh, there's gold.
Man.
There's gold in there for sure. And we've got some spins as well. I think. Okay, so two things here. I think we should bring the small wheel over here so the viewers can actually see the prizes. And I never claimed to be good at math, and I hold true on that. I'm bad at math.
Updated them, by the way.
Oh, they're updated.
There's two big wheels.
Wait, I see some decent.
Okay, so we've got some decent prizes on the mini wheel now, but what I was neglecting to remember during our first spin sesh was can't believe I just said that.
Someone clip that.
What I neglected to remember, though, was that obviously the small wheel is small prizes and the big wheel is big prizes, and the probability is what the probability is. So, you get that small percentage chance of hitting a very big prize on the big wheel. The small wheel, you're likely going to get a small prize, and that's the name of the game. We were able to give about 10,000 MON on average, and again, huge shout out to KZ. I think his Kvan. What's his Twitter handle?
Oh, it's like KvanZY. No, that's not it. It's something like that.
I think it's KYVAN. Yes, KYVAN_Z. Go follow KZ.EVM. Absolute legendary quant. Who has helped us do the math because I can't do the math. So without further ado, we've got, not to be confused here, we've got Kaivan.eth up for a spin on the small wheel.
Small wheel.
420.
420, almost a big wheel. That was close. I really want a big wheel. We're rooting for you.
We'll hope that it happens at some point in the show, but this is how the wheel goes. And Vikaru got that big bonus last time. We also have Mirth Mono up again. Mirth, legendary question asker.
10.
Mirth, you legend, keep shooting. Keep shooting.
Slowly but surely, we're racking it up. We're racking it up. And
Chaos
Walker as well with the question of the day.
Question of the day. We're spinning it the other way for him. 0. Oh! Wow.
Big old goose egg.
Chaos
for
Walker
Chaos.
got a goose egg on the wheel, but you do have an AI waifu with Loom specific knowledge that is powered by Monad, coming to you in the near future, according to Caster Hat. So, all right, without further ado,
yes,
Monday Trade doing a ton of volume. I'm very excited to talk to Monday Trade. I don't think they have AI robotics waifus, but they certainly power swaps on Monad. Beautiful.
Welcome to the show.
Here we go. We're live.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me well?
Loud and clear. You're very crisp, very clear, both the audio and the visual side as well. Been live on. Oh, gotcha. Well, Monday Trade's been live on Monad Mainnet for a couple days now. Monad Mainnet has been live for a couple days now. Maybe give us a little bit of an overview on yourself and the product, and then we can dive into some of the details.
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to follow up some of the madness that was happening with Prisma X, but I'll do my best. I'm Tony. I head up strategy at Monday Trade. So Monday Trade, as you guys said, is Monad native spot and perps decks. We've been live on Monad since day one mainnet. We're actually doubling down now on perps since mainnet because we feel like that's a very interesting space given Monad's infrastructure. And now that we're on mainnet, we can actually see the performance live in real time, and actually that's sort of part of the reason we're doubling down for perps, which is super exciting. Our model itself. We have a fully on-chain order book and AMM model combined, so definitely leveraging Monad's finality and latency, and yeah. So now we're at the stage where we've had a gated approach to perps in particular. So we're going to be opening that up very soon, but people still require an access code for the perp side. And we're scaling up with market makers at the moment to have better liquidity. So yeah, very excited to be here. To celebrate that we're on this show, we're happy to announce that we have 100 final codes going live with the code access MITMS. I'm sure you guys can guess what that's for.
Yes, absolutely. Love it.
So it's first come, first serve. If you're yeah, you should. Definitely.
I need a code.
I think we maybe have some mods in the chat as well. So if you have any questions around that, feel free to ask. And final exciting thing that we're doing is in the next few days we're going to have our MON perp pair go live as well, which obviously is a exciting moment for us and also the Monad ecosystem. So yeah, excited to be here and to get stuck into this conversation. Oh, also. I brought some non-branded water because I feel like I need to represent health here as opposed to all this garbage and sugar and caffeine that you're putting down your throats.
I got still water here.
Jessup has the still water from Liquid Death. Kevin and I have been murdering our thirst here with some peach tea.
You can tell the dev is drinking just clean water, but the users are getting loaded up on Liquid Dash, sugar, and caffeine to go trade perps on Monad Mainnet. Oh, man.
We had a question come through in the chat.
Gosh, Walker.
Real Chaos Walker, longtime Monad in the Morning super fan, longtime question asker as well. He's curious around the name for Monday Trade. Is it by chance inspired by the Monad cult leader Bill Mondays, aka Bill? I love the aka Bill there, right?
Yeah. If not, why Monday? There's a second part.
If not, why Monday?
Oh.
I wish it was inspired by Bill only. But no, it's so Monday is traditionally in the stock market the day that has the most volume, and so we wanted to basically commemorate that we're hopefully replacing traditional stock markets and trying to bring all trading on chain. And so to bring that together, and also obviously Monday sounds quite good with Monad as well, so it's a little bit of wordplay there. I remember when we were devising the name, we had quite a few, as you imagine, with these brainstorming sessions, you have some pretty wild attempts at times. But I think, Monday settled well, and we're happy with it.
Love the name. It's a great name. It really is a great name.
We used
And we
to.
have a coffee cup inspired logo as well with the little trading chart. So yeah, that one was actually mine. I'm very, very proud to say that on this show. Look no further.
Well done for sure. And Monday used to be our favorite day of the week. It's now Throughput Thursday, the day in which we run Monad in the morning. But Monday used to be our favorite day of the week, and we would host the Monad Mondays Twitter Spaces. So,
I forgot about the
good
Monad Mondays
throwback.
Twitter Spaces.
Good throwback there for sure. But we also had a question more on the product side of things from Jeremias Alcantara.nad, who asks, what are next steps for Monday.trade or Monday Trade in terms of new trading pairs, yield farming strategies, or tools for institutional traders perhaps? And how is this going to impact the millisecond level trading experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in terms of our next steps for product, we've done a lot of hard work to be able to be live for Monad Day 1 mainnet. But the work has only started really. We still have to put together the mobile version of the app. So that's going to be rolling out in the very near future. Obviously, a lot of, especially more retail-focused traders, trade on their phones. So we need to ensure that that's live and ready to go. And then once we've done that, we're going to be focusing much more on more complex style of orders. So stop losses, take profit, and one-click trading as a full experience. A lot of that is, again, leveraging the stack that the Monad has built. We're also working with some third-party relayers for that. That's on the product side. On the asset side, initially we're going to be starting only with crypto native assets. So that's on both, on the perp side. But we are in the process of looking at some partnerships to bring also real world assets on chain for both the spot and the perp side. Very excited. I can't really say too much about that yet, but I think it's been very interesting speaking to some of the partners that we've been engaged with to hear about their thoughts on Monad as an ecosystem as well, and that being open to also adding liquidity there. So hopefully that shares a little bit more about where we're headed.
Absolutely. And it's exciting. Honestly, I think Monday Trade has gotten an enormous amount of attention for the apps that are live on Monad mainnet. It's like, maybe it's certainly top 5, maybe top 3, kind of in that area of like, hey, I want to use Monad and I checked out Monday Trade. So it seems like, at least from the attention point and from anecdotal evidence that I've received, that the traction looks really good early on. But yeah, maybe from your guys' point of view, how is the first 10 days being live on Monad been?
It's been good. I would say that not much sleep overall. There's obviously some initial bugs that need to be fixed, and well, I would say that the 10 days also leading up to mainnet also didn't really get much sleep either. So I think a few of the team members are definitely looking forward to the holiday season coming up. But I think with that, we're definitely at a point where, looking back on it, we were actually very pleasantly surprised at how the infrastructure has held up. And I think that's been reported across a few of the other builders as well, that it's all been very, overall, very reliable. So that's been great, right? Because ultimately, for you guys when you're launching day one, you want to have as much uptime as possible, and I think that's definitely been delivered on. I'm super excited to hear that that Monday Trade is definitely being thrown around as one of the names, the household Monad names. Yeah, I think that's also part of the result of being on the Monad Momentum program, which has also been it's been very good coordinating with the team on that. So yeah.
Yeah, one, and this is just kind of off the cuff, so feel free to brush it off. But on the Mono Momentum side, I don't believe on Mine in the Morning have gotten the perspective of a team that is in the Monad Momentum cohort discussing Mono Momentum and kind of what it means for Monday Trade. So assume hypothetically that you were live on stream with the Monad team and got to talk to all of the users that are looking to mess around on Monad. How would you pitch, using Monday Trade as part of the Mono Momentum, or like as a Mono Momentum recipient or winner, whatever the name is for
Wave One?
Wave One, yeah,
Wave
cohort
one.
leader.
Maybe, yeah, I think, well, the team, I think was initially selected for it because of the product that we built out and also our track record previously. So Monday Trade is actually incubated by Sim Futures Builder Program. So for those of you who don't know, Sim Futures is a perps DEX that's live on base. They've done more than $300 billion in cumulative volume at this point. And so, all the users that are coming into Monday Trade inherit a lot of that security and track record when using our platform, which is definitely something to keep in mind. Regarding the Momentum campaign itself, it's basically an initial push by the Monad team to essentially aid discoverability, I would say, of Monad ecosystem apps, right? And I want to say that as opposed to say like heavily incentivizing specific behaviors. So on our side, there's like a 100K reward over the course of a month, which is the first wave of the program, in both MON and USDC. So users can participate by visiting obviously Monday Trade and trading at least 1K in volume in the perps, and then they have access essentially to refer other users to the program, and then as and when users trade that they've referred, they accumulate points as well, and so they're eligible for the rewards. My reflection on it generally, I think it's actually been very refreshing speaking to the ecosystem team about this, because I've witnessed other launches that and other sort of TVL campaigns and day ones, and I'm very happy to see the way that Monad's like trajectory has been like incremental and long term, as opposed to some like huge 10 billion TVL day one bonanza, which I don't want to name any other shades here, but eventually it trends to zero. So it's been very interesting speaking with the team in terms of like the focus on KPIs and really thinking about how to build for the long term in that respect. So yeah, it's excited to be part of wave one and looking forward hopefully to being part of wave two.
Hell yeah. We have a question. I'm going to choose it because we haven't had a question from this person come up yet. Wars on GID or Wars on GID?
That is up for interpretation.
Up for interpretation. One thing that we do love to do on MON in the Morning is interpret. So we're going to interpret this to be Wars on GID. Question: are there risks on low liquidity or high slippage or other market-related risks when using Monday Trade? I'm going to insert some context here, but especially during extreme market circumstances, which crypto is very used to, October 10th comes to mind. do any of these risks, like if you use limit orders or providing liquidity yourself, like how should people think about the risks of using Monday Trade?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll go through a little bit more like the way that the order book and AMM model combines. So I would say that the reason we onboard professional market makers to provide liquidity is precisely because as a, let's say, less sophisticated user, if you're providing liquidity in the AMM pool, you can think of the AMM pool similar to like a Uniswap V3 style pool in terms of the fact that it's you choose like the concentration of the liquidity, but the similarities really stop there, because essentially what you're doing is because it's a margin trading system, right? You're providing a counterparty to a trader that's coming in, and the way the system works is you're essentially providing a set of limit orders across that curve. Now, if the further you move away, right, from let's say the point at which you provided the liquidity, your position can actually, the way you're providing liquidity can actually turn into a position, and eventually, if you go further down the curve, you could potentially get liquidated, right? So providing liquidity at the AMM level, unless you're doing it at a wide frame, is definitely a risk for less sophisticated users. You can provide liquidity, obviously, on the order book side, and that works like providing, a limit order, like any other sort of trading system. So that's definitely one that I would, use with caution. Even though if you do know how to use it, it provides very, very interesting sort of returns, especially if you know how to hedge while on other venues. So yeah, I would say that's definitely one risk to take into consideration. And then, yeah, that's probably the main one. When it comes to the way that we handle like stress situations, we have a social loss implementation as opposed to like ADL. That's something that I think has caused a lot of debate in recent weeks on the timeline, but that's something that we've opted for in our case. And then finally, one of the decisions that we've taken, which I think any engineering team also makes when they're building out these systems that are meant to be decentralized and performant, is all our markets are isolated, right? So other instances, for example, like I'm not sure, I think Purple does full like cross margining and a unified trading account. On our side, we specifically have isolated markets, so that if there is anything that happens in one market, the risk contagion is limited to just that market. We found that definitely is very good from a risk management point of view. Obviously, it does have a little bit of a drawback when it comes to liquidity, but we definitely think it's the right trade-off for us.
I'm personally curious how you think about just like the kind of two things, but I'll bundle them into one, like the future of trading in general, and then also like where we're at currently in crypto. I think, rewinding a couple years, a lot of people's predictions for what crypto in general and the trading experience in 2025, I think these predictions would not match reality in most cases. So one, like, any thoughts on where crypto is currently at today, the trading experience, and then where is that going in the future? Obviously, there's a lot of places to trade, more and more assets coming on chain. But how do you and the team think about that?
Yeah, that's a super good question. I mean, I think working in crypto or being a crypto project is so exciting because there's so much innovation going on the whole time. But it also means, there's so much disruption as well, and so it really keeps you on your toes. I mean, if we think back to like 5 years ago, right, or 5 or 6 years ago, Monad wasn't a thing, right? And we're all here because of Monad and because we believe that, there's we can inherit both the advantages of Ethereum and Solana. And so I think when we think about it, it comes down to, okay, what is the next step in terms of user experience, and then also what people are trading? We've seen a huge rise recently in prediction markets. That's been definitely the talk of the town over the last month. And I'm sure that that's going to continue. And then I think one of the challenges or opportunities that the pure DeFi projects have at the moment is cracking distribution, right? Because ultimately they sit in like a regulatory, slightly gray area, which means that it's harder to build experiences in what you would expect more like traditional like tech can do, right? In terms of running performance marketing ads, because of certain like meta platform distribution policies, as well as also some of the regulatory concerns that like certain jurisdictions have. So I think definitely thinking about distribution and some of those challenges is one of the things that we need to crack. But working with you guys and also a lot of the other partners in the Monad ecosystem, it definitely it's definitely very inspiring to be part of that, because having spoken to other partners as well, I think we see also there's a lot of different ideas on how to approach some of these problems.
Love it. Well, we've got some spins to spin. Interns looking for the wheel. I have the wheel.
Yes. So dude. I'm pretty sure it's War Song ID. War Song.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think that's our last spin for Monday. Probably obvious, but first up, Real Chaos Walker. He's getting a spin.
Come on, give me a big wheel. Give me a big wheel.
You got chaos on the big wheel.
Oh, 1143 though is still pretty solid.
1143.
Yeah. All right. Chaos. There you go.
All right, Chaos.
That's
some
probably
stake,
have your some stake to hold
already.
Next up, Jeremiah's
stake to hold. That was good.
Jeremiah's Alcantara.net.
Medium rare.
Medium rare.
Jeremiah, this one's for you. Are we going to get a big wheel for Jeremiah?
No,
we're getting 1,000. All right, the
1,000.
The little wheel is turning.
The little wheel continues to spin, and
then we have Warsong ID.
War Sun Gid. You love it. Big wheel.
Come on, give him the big wheel.
Oh! Let's go.
All right. Warsong ID.
All right, you ready?
With the second big wheel spin of the
cow.
day, with the first sponsored by Monad. Thank you, MetaMask. Oh, that's a spin.
Warsong ID. Come on.
Oh, it was so close to 42,000, but it's 667.
667.
No. Wait, let me.
It's verified. It's
coming over.
It's on camera.
I'm coming over to look at that.
Intern's coming over to inspect the wheel. Make sure we're all good here. What does the ref say?
Is that a respin?
No.
It's 667.
Warsong ID 667. First spin of the big wheel brought
It's better
to you.
than 0.67.
Definitely better than 0.67. And we have more spins to come. We have another hour of Monad in the morning coming up. We'll be joined after a quick intermission by Telegram Wallet, followed by Mert from Helium. Helios, just kidding. Had to do it. Tony, thanks very much for being with us today. Shout out Monday Trade, and look forward to having you back soon. Congrats on the mainnet launch, and looking forward to the future for sure.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
Enjoy.
Alrighty.
Bye.